Amanda Foster stood in the doorway of their friend's living room, champagne glass in hand, watching her husband Ryan laugh with a circle of men near the fireplace. The warmth of the room felt suffocating despite the autumn chill outside. She had worn her favorite emerald dress tonight, the one that made her hazel eyes stand out, the one Ryan used to say made him fall in love with her all over again. He hadn't noticed it tonight. He hadn't noticed much about her lately. The party was in full swing. Their friends Mark and Diane had invited 20 people to celebrate their 10th wedding anniversary. Amanda had been looking forward to this evening, a chance to reconnect with Ryan outside of their routine. But he had barely spoken to her since they arrived 2 hours ago. She watched him now, animated and confident, gesturing broadly as he told some story that made the other men roar with laughter. She loved watching him like this, in his element, charismatic and magnetic. That was the man she had fallen in love with 8 years ago. That was the man she had married. Then she heard it, Ryan's voice cutting through the chatter and music, louder than necessary, dripping with arrogance. "You know what, guys? If I ever cheated, and I'm not saying I would, but if I did, you can be absolutely certain of one thing." He paused for effect, a smirk spreading across his face. "She would never find out. Never." The men laughed, some nervously, others with genuine amusement. Amanda felt her stomach drop. She stood there, frozen, her fingers tightening around the stem of her glass. Someone noticed her standing nearby. "Hey, Amanda's right there, man," one of them said, nudging Ryan. Ryan turned, saw her, and his smile didn't falter. He walked over, wrapped his arm around her waist, and pulled her close. "I'm just kidding, babe. You know that, right?" He kissed her temple, his lips cold against her skin. "Just guy talk, nothing serious." Amanda forced a smile. She could feel everyone's eyes on her, waiting to see how she would react. "Of course," she said, her voice steady even though her heart was hammering. "Just guy talk." She took a sip of champagne, the bubbles bitter on her tongue. The men relaxed, conversation resumed, and Ryan squeezed her waist before letting go and turning back to his circle. Amanda excused herself and walked to the bathroom, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor. She locked the door behind her and stared at her reflection in the mirror. Her carefully applied makeup was still perfect. Her hair, chestnut brown with golden highlights, fell in soft waves over her shoulders. She looked composed. She looked fine. But inside, something had shifted. Why would he say that? Why would he say it with such confidence, such specificity? It wasn't the joke itself that bothered her. It was the certainty in his voice, the arrogance, the way he had looked at his friends, like he was sharing some secret knowledge they didn't possess. Amanda returned to the party and played her part. She smiled, she chatted, she laughed at appropriate moments. But Ryan's words echoed in her mind. If I ever cheated, she would never find out. Never. By the time they left at midnight, she had replayed that sentence 100 times. In the car ride home, Ryan hummed along to the radio, relaxed and content. "Good party," he said. "Mark and Diane really know how to throw a celebration." "Yeah," Amanda replied, staring out the window at the dark streets passing by. "Really good." That night, she lay in bed beside him, listening to his steady breathing as he slept. She stared at the ceiling, her mind racing. Was she overreacting? It was just a stupid joke, right? Men said things like that all the time. Locker room talk, meaningless bravado. But something about it felt wrong. Not the joke itself, the delivery, the confidence, the way he had said never, like it was a challenge, like it was a fact. The next morning was Sunday. Ryan woke up early, kissed her forehead, and said he was going to the gym. "I'll be back in a couple of hours," he said, already dressed in his workout clothes. "Want me to grab bagels on the way home?" "Sure," Amanda said, sitting up in bed. She watched him leave, heard the front door close, heard his car start in the driveway. Then she got up and walked into his home office. Her hands were shaking. She felt guilty, intrusive, like she was violating some unspoken trust. But she couldn't shake the feeling. She needed to know. She started with his laptop. It was unlocked, which surprised her. Ryan was always so careful about his passwords. She opened his email. Work emails, receipts, newsletters. Nothing unusual. She checked his browser history. Clean. Too clean. He had cleared it recently. She checked his deleted items folder. Empty. She went through his social media accounts. His Facebook messages were mundane. His Instagram direct messages were mostly from colleagues and family. Nothing suspicious. Nothing at all. Amanda sat back in his desk chair, frustrated. What was she even looking for? Evidence of an affair? Based on what? A dumb comment at a party? She felt ridiculous. But then she remembered the way he had said it. Never. With such absolute certainty. She opened the drawer of his desk. Papers, pens, old receipts. Nothing interesting. She checked his phone records online. Normal calls, normal texts. Everything was normal. Too normal. That thought stopped her. People weren't this clean. Real people left traces. They forgot to delete a text. They saved a photo they shouldn't have. They left a receipt from a suspicious restaurant. But Ryan? His digital life was pristine, curated, almost professionally managed. And that, Amanda realized, was exactly what made it suspicious. The absence of anything suspicious was itself suspicious. She spent the next 3 days observing him. She didn't confront him. She didn't ask questions. She just watched. Ryan went to work every weekday, came home at his usual time, had dinner with her, watched television, went to bed. On Wednesday evening, he said he had a late meeting. He came home at 9:30, kissed her, and said the meeting had been productive. On Friday, he went to the gym again in the morning. Same routine. Bagels on the way home. Everything normal. But Amanda noticed small things. The way he angled his phone away from her when he checked his messages. The way he had started taking his phone into the bathroom with him. The way he had become suddenly meticulous about clearing his search history. These weren't the behaviors of someone with nothing to hide. These were the behaviors of someone who was very, very careful. On Saturday morning, 1 week after the party, Amanda made a decision. She waited until Ryan left for the gym. Then she got in her car and drove. Not to follow him. Not yet. She drove 2 hours to a neighboring city, parked in front of a small office building downtown, and walked inside. The directory listed several businesses. She took the elevator to the 3rd floor and found the door she was looking for. Harrison Investigations. Private and confidential. She knocked. A deep voice said, "Come in." Amanda opened the door and stepped into a modest office. Behind a desk sat a man in his mid-50s, gray hair, sharp eyes, wearing a button-down shirt and tie. He looked up from his computer and gestured to the chair across from him. "Can I help you?" Amanda sat down. Her hands were trembling. "I think my husband is cheating on me," she said. The words felt surreal coming out of her mouth. "But I can't prove it. I can't find anything. And that's exactly why I think he is." The man leaned back in his chair and studied her. "My name is Frank Harrison. I've been doing this for 25 years. Tell me everything." Amanda told him about the party, about Ryan's comment, about the way he had said it with such confidence. She told him about the week of observation, about the pristine digital footprint, about the small behavioral changes. Frank Harrison listened without interrupting, occasionally jotting notes on a yellow legal pad. When she finished, he was quiet for a moment, tapping his pen against the desk. "You're right to be concerned," he finally said. "In my experience, people who are that careful usually have something to hide. The fact that you found nothing is actually more suspicious than if you had found something. Cheaters who are sloppy get caught immediately. Cheaters who are meticulous take planning to catch." He paused. "I charge $3,500 for 5 days of surveillance. That includes photos, video if possible, and a full written report. If I find nothing, you pay half. If I find something, you pay in full. Fair?" Amanda felt her throat tighten. $3,500. That was a lot of money, but she needed to know. She needed the truth. Fair, she said. Frank Harrison opened a drawer and pulled out a contract. I'll need some basic information. Your husband's full name, your address, his workplace, his vehicle description, his typical schedule. Anything that helps me do my job efficiently. He slid the paper across the desk along with a pen. And I need to be clear about something. If I find evidence of infidelity, it will be documented thoroughly. Photos don't lie. Videos don't lie. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Are you prepared for that? Amanda picked up the pen. Her hand was steadier now. Yes, she said. I need to know. She filled out the paperwork, signed the contract, and wrote a check. Frank Harrison stood and shook her hand. I'll start Monday morning. I'll call you Friday evening with an update. Do not change your behavior at home. Act normal. Don't let him know anything is different. Can you do that? I can do that, Amanda said. She drove home in silence, her mind numb. By the time she pulled into the driveway, Ryan was already back from the gym. He was in the kitchen, unpacking bagels from a paper bag. 2 coffee cups sat on the counter, still steaming. Hey, babe, he said when she walked in. Where were you? I tried calling. Just drove around, Amanda said, setting her purse on the counter. Needed to clear my head. Felt restless. Ryan nodded, not looking up. I got your favorite. Sesame with cream cheese. He handed her a bagel wrapped in wax paper. Amanda took it, their fingers brushing briefly. She looked at him. This man she had loved for 8 years. This man she had built a life with, and wondered if she even knew him at all. He smiled at her, warm and familiar. You okay? You seem a little off today. I'm fine, Amanda said, returning the smile. Just tired. She took a bite of the bagel. It tasted like nothing. The next 5 days were the longest of Amanda's life. She woke up each morning beside Ryan, made coffee, went through the motions of normalcy while her mind screamed with questions. She cooked dinner on Monday evening, pasta with marinara sauce, and they ate together at the kitchen table like they had done 1,000 times before. Ryan talked about a project at work, something about a merger his company was negotiating. Amanda nodded, asked appropriate questions, laughed when he made a joke about his boss. But inside, she felt hollow. Every time her phone buzzed, her heart jumped. Was it Frank Harrison? Had he found something already? But the calls never came during those first 4 days. Frank had said he would contact her Friday evening. She had to wait. She had to act normal. She had to pretend everything was fine. Tuesday morning, Ryan left for work at 7:30, as usual. Amanda watched from the bedroom window as his black sedan pulled out of the driveway. Somewhere out there, Frank Harrison was following him. The thought was both comforting and terrifying. She showered, dressed, and went to her own job. She worked as a marketing manager for a mid-sized company downtown, a position she had held for 6 years before taking a 2-year hiatus to support Ryan's career advancement. She had only been back for 3 months, and readjusting to the pace had been challenging. But today, work was a welcome distraction. Her colleague and best friend Jennifer Sullivan stopped by her desk around noon. Jennifer was a family law attorney, sharp and no-nonsense, with dark hair cut in a practical bob and eyes that missed nothing. "Lunch?" Jennifer asked, leaning against the cubicle wall. "I'm not really hungry," Amanda said, staring at her computer screen without really seeing it. Jennifer studied her for a moment. "You've been off all week. What's going on?" Amanda glanced around the office. People were focused on their own work, but she didn't want to risk being overheard. "Can we talk somewhere private?" They went to a coffee shop 2 blocks away and sat in a corner booth. Amanda ordered tea she didn't drink. Jennifer waited patiently, her hands folded on the table. Finally, Amanda told her everything. The party, the comment, the investigation she had found nothing in, the private detective she had hired. Jennifer listened without interrupting, her expression carefully neutral. When Amanda finished, Jennifer was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, Do you want my professional opinion or my personal opinion? Both, Amanda said. Professionally, you did the right thing hiring someone. If there's infidelity and you end up divorcing, documented evidence strengthens your position significantly, especially in terms of asset division and potential alimony. Jennifer paused. Personally, I think you should prepare yourself for what that detective might find. In my experience, when someone's gut tells them something is wrong, they're usually right. And men who are that confident about not getting caught, they're usually confident because they've done it before and succeeded. Amanda felt her chest tighten. You think he's cheated before? I think if he's cheating now, and he's this careful about it, this isn't his first time. Jennifer said gently, I'm sorry, Amanda. I know that's not what you want to hear. Amanda stared down at her untouched tea. I keep hoping I'm wrong, that I'm being paranoid, that Frank is going to call me Friday and say there's nothing, that Ryan is exactly who I think he is. Jennifer reached across the table and squeezed her hand. And if he's not? If there is something? Then I deal with it, Amanda said, her voice steadier than she felt. Whatever it is, I deal with it. Wednesday passed in a blur. Thursday felt like it lasted a week. By Friday morning, Amanda was barely holding herself together. She had barely slept the night before, lying awake listening to Ryan snore softly beside her, wondering if in a few hours her entire world would shatter. She got up before her alarm, made coffee with shaking hands, and sat at the kitchen table in the dark. Ryan found her there when he came downstairs at 6:30. You're up early, he said, kissing the top of her head. Couldn't sleep? Just thinking about work stuff, Amanda lied. Big presentation next week. Ryan poured himself coffee and leaned against the counter. He was already dressed for work. Navy suit, crisp white shirt, silver tie. He looked good. He always looked good. You'll do great, he said. You always do. Hey, I might be a little late tonight. Johnson wants to grab drinks after work to discuss the merger. Should be home by 8 or 9. Amanda's stomach twisted. Was he really meeting Johnson? Or was that another lie? Okay, she said. I'll probably just order takeout for myself then. Sounds good. Ryan finished his coffee, rinsed the mug, and grabbed his briefcase. Love you, babe. Love you too, Amanda said automatically. The words felt strange in her mouth. She went to work, sat through meetings, responded to emails, all while watching the clock. Frank had said he would call Friday evening. Evening could mean anything. 6? 7? 10? She kept her phone on her desk, volume up, checking it every few minutes. By 5 o'clock, she couldn't focus anymore. She told her supervisor she wasn't feeling well and left early. At home, she paced. She tried to watch television, but couldn't concentrate. She tried to read, but the words blurred together. At 6:15, her phone rang. Unknown number. Her hand shook as she answered. Hello? Mrs. Foster, this is Frank Harrison. Amanda's heart was pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. Did you find something? Yes, Frank said. His voice was professional, measured. I found something. Are you somewhere you can talk freely? Amanda looked around her empty house. Ryan wouldn't be home for hours. Yes, I'm alone. I'm going to email you the full report with photos right now, but I want to walk you through what I found first, so you understand everything. She heard typing on his end. Your husband is extremely careful. He uses a prepaid cell phone for his communications with his mistress. He varies his locations. He parks his car in different places. He pays for everything in cash. He's methodical, but he made one mistake. Every Saturday morning, he stops at the same coffee shop. Always the same time, 9:30 in the morning, always the same order, 2 lattes and 2 salmon bagels, always pays cash. Amanda felt dizzy. Saturday mornings. When he said he was going to the gym. Go on, she whispered. I followed him this morning. He bought the coffee and bagels, then drove to an apartment building about 15 minutes from your house. Building C, Unit 212. He has a key. He let himself in. A woman was waiting for him. Caucasian, early 30s, blonde hair, athletic build. They kissed in the doorway. Not a friendly kiss, an intimate kiss. He was there for 2 hours. I have photographs. Amanda couldn't breathe. She sat down on the couch, her legs unable to hold her weight. Who is she? Her name is Nicole Parker. She's a yoga instructor at a studio downtown. I did some background checking. She moved to the area 6 months ago. That apartment is in her name, but I have photos of your husband's car parked there on multiple occasions over the past 5 days. Based on banking records I was able to access, there have been suspicious cash withdrawals from your husband's account every week for the past 6 months. Always on Fridays. Always $500. I believe he's been using that money to help pay her rent and expenses. 6 months. He had been doing this for 6 months. Amanda felt bile rise in her throat. What else? Frank's voice was gentle now. Mrs. Foster, I need you to look at the report I'm sending. There's more. I traced his financial history back further. There are patterns. Hotel charges from a year ago. Restaurant expenses that don't match his stated whereabouts. This isn't the first time. Based on what I found, I believe your husband has been having affairs on and off for at least 2 years. He's just gotten better at hiding it. Amanda stared at her phone screen. An email notification appeared. Subject line, Foster Investigation Report. Confidential. Her finger hovered over it. Frank had warned her. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. The woman, Amanda said, her voice barely above a whisper. Does she know he's married? Based on my surveillance, I don't believe so. She seems genuinely affectionate with him, comfortable, like they're in a real relationship. My guess? He told her he's single, or divorced. Whatever story made sense. Amanda opened the email. The first photo loaded. Ryan standing in the doorway of an apartment, arms around a blonde woman. They were kissing. Really kissing. The second photo showed them walking inside together, his hand on the small of her back. The third showed his car in the apartment parking lot, clearly taken on a different day because the weather was different. The fourth was a bank statement, highlighted in yellow, where the $500 withdrawals appeared every Friday for 6 months. She scrolled through 23 photos total. Each one felt like a knife in her chest. But what broke her wasn't the kissing or the intimacy. It was the smile on his face in one particular photo. He looked happy, genuinely, freely happy, the way he used to look at her years ago. Mrs. Foster, are you still there? Yes, Amanda said. Her voice sounded strange, distant. I'm here. I need to know if you want me to continue surveillance, or if this is sufficient for your needs. Amanda closed the email. She set her phone down on the coffee table and stared at the wall. Her hands were trembling. Her whole body was trembling. This is sufficient, she said. Send me your invoice. I'll pay in full. I'll send it tomorrow. Mrs. Foster, I'm sorry. I know this isn't what you wanted to find. No, Amanda said. But it's what I needed to find. Thank you, Mr. Harrison. She hung up. For a long time, she just sat there. The house was quiet. The afternoon sun streamed through the windows, making patterns on the hardwood floor. Everything looked exactly the same as it had this morning, but everything was different. Her marriage was a lie, had been a lie for 2 years, maybe longer, and Ryan had been so confident that she would never find out. Never. Amanda stood up. She walked to the kitchen, poured herself a glass of water, and drank it slowly. Then she opened her phone again and scrolled through the photos one more time, not to torture herself, but to memorize them, to let the reality sink in completely. Ryan was cheating. He had been cheating. He was meticulous and careful, and he thought he was smarter than her. And for 2 years, he had been right, but not anymore. At 7:45, Amanda's phone buzzed. A text from Ryan. Johnson canceled. Heading home now. Be there in 20. She stared at the message. In 20 minutes, he would walk through that door. He would kiss her. He would ask about her day. He would smile and act like everything was normal, like he hadn't spent this morning in another woman's apartment, like he hadn't been systematically betraying her for 2 years. Amanda went upstairs to the bedroom and opened her closet. In the back, behind her winter coats, was a lockbox where she kept important documents. Birth certificates, passports, the deed to the house. She pulled it out, opened it, and placed her phone inside with Frank Harrison's email still open. Evidence. Safe. Then she closed the box, locked it, and put it back in its hiding place. When Ryan came home 19 minutes later, Amanda was sitting on the couch watching television. She had washed her face, fixed her makeup, and put on a calm expression. Ryan dropped his briefcase by the door and walked over to her. "Hey, babe. Sorry, drinks got canceled. Johnson's wife went into labor early." He kissed her forehead. "What are you watching?" Amanda looked up at him. This man she had loved for 8 years. This man who had lied to her face for at least 2. "Just some documentary," she said. "How was your day?" "Long," Ryan said, sitting down beside her. "But good. Hey, tomorrow morning, I'm thinking of hitting the gym early again. Maybe around 9? I'll grab bagels after like last week. 9 o'clock. The coffee shop. Nicole Parker's apartment." Amanda kept her expression neutral. "Sure," she said. "That sounds good." Ryan put his arm around her and pulled her close. She rested her head on his shoulder and stared at the television screen without seeing anything. Tomorrow morning, he would go to the gym. Except he wouldn't really go to the gym. He would go to Nicole Parker's apartment with 2 lattes and 2 salmon bagels, just like he did every Saturday morning. And this time, Amanda would be ready. Amanda barely slept that night. She lay on her side, facing away from Ryan, listening to him breathe deeply in sleep. Every few hours, she would glance at the clock on the nightstand. 1 in the morning, 3, 4:30. At 5:45, she gave up trying and slipped quietly out of bed. She went downstairs, made coffee, and sat at the kitchen table in the darkness. Her mind was racing, planning. Today was Saturday. Today, Ryan would go to Nicole Parker's apartment. And today, Amanda would follow. She had thought about it all night. What would she do? Confront them? Wait outside? Call him while he was there? None of those options felt right. She needed to see it with her own eyes. She needed to look at this woman who thought she was in a relationship with a single man. She needed Ryan to see her face when she revealed the truth. Not over the phone. Not through text. Face to face. At 7:30, Ryan came downstairs. He was already dressed in gym clothes, athletic shorts, and a fitted t-shirt. "You're up early again," he said, pouring himself coffee. "Another bad night?" "Couldn't shut my brain off," Amanda said truthfully. "Work stress." Ryan sat down across from her. In the morning light, he looked tired too. There were faint lines around his eyes that hadn't been there a year ago. "Maybe you should take a day off next week. Just relax. You've been pushing yourself pretty hard since you came back." The concern in his voice sounded genuine. That was the worst part. He could lie so easily, so convincingly, that even now, knowing everything she knew, part of her wanted to believe him. "Maybe," Amanda said. "We'll see." At 8:45, Ryan stood up and grabbed his gym bag from the hall closet. "I'll be back around noon," he said. "Want me to pick up lunch too? Maybe that Thai place you like?" Amanda forced a smile. "That would be nice." He kissed her goodbye, his lips pressing against hers for a brief moment. Then he was gone. Amanda waited until she heard his car start and pull out of the driveway. Then she ran upstairs, threw on jeans and a sweater, grabbed her purse and phone, and got into her own car. She knew where he was going. Frank Harrison had given her the address. Building C, Unit 212, 15 minutes from their house. She drove carefully, staying several cars behind Ryan's black sedan. He took the familiar route downtown, then turned into a neighborhood she had never been to before. Apartment complexes lined both sides of the street, modern buildings with names like River's Edge and Parkside Commons. Ryan pulled into the parking lot of a complex called Meadowbrook Apartments. Amanda drove past, parked on the street half a block away, and watched in her rearview mirror. At exactly 9:28, Ryan walked out of the parking lot on foot. He was heading toward the main street. Amanda knew where he was going. The coffee shop, 2 lattes, and 2 salmon bagels. She waited 5 minutes, then got out of her car and walked toward the apartment complex. Her heart was pounding. Her hands were shaking. She had never done anything like this before. She had never been the type of woman who confronted her husband's mistress. But here she was. Building C was at the back of the complex. Amanda climbed the exterior stairs to the 2nd floor and found Unit 212. The door was plain, beige, with a small welcome mat that said Namaste in script lettering. Of course, Nicole Parker was a yoga instructor. Amanda almost laughed at the cliché. She stood there, staring at the door, trying to gather her courage. What was she going to say? What was she going to do? Before she could decide, she heard footsteps on the stairs. She turned. Ryan was coming up the steps, 2 coffee cups and a cardboard carrier in one hand, a paper bag in the other. He was looking down at his phone, not paying attention. He reached the landing, looked up, and froze. For a moment, neither of them moved. Ryan's face went pale. The color drained so fast Amanda thought he might drop the coffee. "Amanda," he said, his voice barely a whisper. "What are you doing here?" "I could ask you the same thing," Amanda said. Her voice was steady now, calmer than she felt. "But I already know the answer." Ryan glanced at the apartment door, then back at her. His mind was clearly racing, trying to come up with an explanation, a lie, anything. "This isn't what it looks like." "Don't," Amanda said sharply. "Don't insult me by lying right now. I know everything, Ryan. I hired a private investigator. I have photos. I have bank statements. I know about the cash withdrawals every Friday. I know you've been coming here every Saturday morning for 6 months. I know about the hotel charges from last year. I know you've been doing this for at least 2 years. Ryan's jaw tightened. The coffee cups trembled slightly in his hand. "Amanda, let's go home. Let's talk about this at home. Not here." "No," Amanda said. "We're talking about it here. Right now." She reached forward and knocked on the apartment door. 3 sharp raps. "What are you doing?" Ryan hissed, panic flashing across his face. "I want to meet her," Amanda said. "I want her to know the truth." Footsteps approached from inside the apartment. The door opened. A woman stood there, blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail, wearing yoga pants and a tank top. She was pretty, Amanda noted distantly. Young, athletic. She looked at Amanda with confusion, then at Ryan with questioning eyes. "Ryan? Who's this?" "Nicole Parker," Amanda said. The woman nodded slowly. "Yes. Who are you?" "I'm Amanda Foster," she said. "Ryan's wife." Nicole's face went slack with shock. She looked at Ryan, who was standing frozen on the landing, still holding the coffee and bagels. "Wife?" Nicole said, her voice rising. "What is she talking about?" Ryan finally found his voice. "Nicole, I can explain. He's been married to me for 8 years, Amanda said, pulling her phone from her purse. She had downloaded several of Frank Harrison's photos before leaving the house. She held the phone out to Nicole. "These were taken by the private investigator I hired. That's Ryan's car in your parking lot. That's him kissing you in your doorway. That's a bank statement showing $500 cash withdrawals every Friday for the past 6 months." Nicole took the phone with shaking hands. She scrolled through the photos, her face getting paler with each one. "No," she whispered. "No. You said you were divorced. You said your divorce was finalized 2 years ago. You said you were single." "He lied," Amanda said simply. "He's been lying to both of us." Nicole looked up at Ryan, tears forming in her eyes. "Is this true? Are you married?" Ryan set the coffee and bagels down on the ground. He ran his hand through his hair, a gesture Amanda recognized. He did that when he was cornered, when he was trying to buy time to think. "Nicole, it's complicated." "It's not complicated," Amanda said. "You're married. You've been married this entire time. You wake up in our bed every morning. You eat breakfast at our kitchen table. You kiss me goodbye when you leave for work, and then you come here on Saturday mornings and pretend to be someone else." Nicole was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. "6 months," she said, her voice breaking. "I've been with you for 6 months. I thought we were building something real. I thought you loved me." "Nicole, I do care about you," Ryan started, but Nicole cut him off. "Don't," she said, her voice hard now. "Don't you dare say you care about me. You lied to me every single day for 6 months. You let me believe we had a future together. You let me fall in love with you." She wiped her eyes roughly and turned to Amanda. "Did you know? Did you know about me?" "I found out a week ago," Amanda said, "after he made a joke at a party about how if he ever cheated, I would never find out. That comment made me suspicious. So I hired someone to follow him. And here we are." Nicole let out a bitter laugh. He was so confident, so sure of himself. She looked at Ryan with disgust. "You're pathetic. Both of you deserve each other." She stepped back into her apartment. "Get out of here, both of you. And Ryan, don't ever contact me again. Don't call, don't text, don't show up here. We're done. Completely done." She slammed the door so hard the frame shook. Amanda and Ryan stood on the landing in silence. Down below, someone had parked and was getting out of their car, looking up at them curiously. Ryan picked up the coffee and bagels, holding them uselessly. "Amanda," he said quietly, "please, let's go home and talk." "There's nothing to talk about," Amanda said, but she turned and walked down the stairs anyway. Ryan followed her to the parking lot. She stopped by her car and faced him. How many others were there? Before Nicole? Ryan's eyes darted away. "What? Don't lie to me anymore, Ryan. The investigator found evidence going back 2 years. How many women have there been?" He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, 2. Before Nicole, there were 2 others. But they didn't mean anything. They were just what? Amanda demanded. Just physical? Just fun? Just ways to pass the time while your wife was at home thinking you loved her? "I do love you," Ryan said. And to Amanda's surprise, he sounded like he meant it. "I know that sounds impossible right now, but I do. What I did with them, with Nicole, it had nothing to do with you. It was about me, about my own issues." Amanda laughed, a harsh sound without humor. "Your own issues, of course. Let me guess. You felt neglected, unappreciated, like something was missing in our marriage?" "I felt scared," Ryan said quietly. "Scared of getting older. Scared of being tied down. Scared that I was missing out on something. So I made stupid choices, selfish choices, and I hurt you. I hurt Nicole. I hurt everyone." Amanda stared at him. Part of her wanted to scream, to throw something, to unleash all the rage and pain she felt. But another part of her just felt tired. So incredibly tired. "Do you know what the worst part is?" she said. "It's not the cheating. It's the lying. You looked me in the eyes every single day and lied. You kissed me. You told me you loved me. You made plans for our future. And the entire time, you were living a completely different life that I knew nothing about." "I'm sorry," Ryan said. "I know that's not enough, but I'm so sorry, Amanda." "Sorry you did it? Or sorry you got caught?" He didn't answer. The silence was answer enough. Amanda unlocked her car. "I want you out of the house by tonight. Pack whatever you need. You can stay at a hotel or with a friend. I don't care, but I don't want you sleeping under the same roof as me anymore." "Amanda, please, can we at least talk about this? Can we try counseling? We've been together for 8 years. That has to mean something." "It did mean something," Amanda said, opening her car door. "It meant everything to me. But clearly, it didn't mean the same thing to you." She got into the car and looked up at him through the open window. "You were right about one thing, Ryan. Your joke at the party. You said if you cheated, I would never find out, and I wouldn't have. Not on my own. You're very good at lying, very careful, very meticulous. But you made one mistake." "What mistake?" Ryan asked. "You underestimated me. Amanda said. "You thought I was too trusting, too naive, too stupid to see through you. But I did see through you. And now everyone else will too." She started the car. Ryan stepped back from the window. "What does that mean? Everyone else?" "It means I'm not keeping your secret anymore," Amanda said. "You humiliated me in front of our friends with that joke. So now they're going to know the truth. They're going to know exactly what kind of man you are." She drove away, leaving him standing in the parking lot holding 2 cold lattes and bagels no one would eat. In her rearview mirror, she saw him standing there, watching her go. Then she turned the corner, and he disappeared from view. Amanda drove for 20 minutes with no destination in mind. She just needed to move, to put distance between herself and that apartment. Finally, she pulled into the parking lot of a park and turned off the engine. She sat there, gripping the steering wheel, trying to process everything that had just happened. She had confronted her husband's mistress. She had told Ryan to leave. She had taken control of the situation in a way she never thought she was capable of. And now, sitting alone in her car, in an empty parking lot, the reality hit her. Her marriage was over. The life she had built with Ryan, the future she had imagined, all of it was gone. She had been living a lie for 2 years, maybe longer. She thought about all the nights she had gone to sleep next to him, trusting him completely. She thought about the times she had paused her own career to support his. She thought about the dreams they had talked about. Children someday. A bigger house. Growing old together. All lies. All meaningless. Amanda pulled out her phone. She opened her contacts and found Jennifer Sullivan's number, her best friend, her attorney. Jennifer answered on the second ring. "Amanda, what's wrong?" "I need you," Amanda said, and her voice finally broke. "I need your help. I'm ready to file for divorce." Jennifer met Amanda at a diner 30 minutes later. Amanda sat in a corner booth, staring at a cup of coffee she hadn't touched. When Jennifer slid into the seat across from her, Amanda looked up with red-rimmed eyes. She had been crying in her car before coming inside, and she hadn't bothered to fix her makeup. Jennifer reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "Tell me everything," she said. Amanda told her about following Ryan to Nicole's apartment, about confronting them both, about the look on Ryan's face when he realized he had been caught, about Nicole's tears and anger, about telling Ryan to leave the house. Jennifer listened without interrupting, her expression growing harder with each detail. When Amanda finished, Jennifer pulled a legal pad from her bag and started taking notes. "First thing Monday morning, we file," Jennifer said. "Based on what you've told me and the evidence from the private investigator, we have an extremely strong case. Documented infidelity, multiple affairs over an extended period, financial deception with the cash withdrawals. This isn't a he said, she said situation. We have proof." "What happens next?" Amanda asked. "We file for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences and adultery. With the evidence we have, we can push for a favorable settlement. You paused your career for 2 years to support his. That matters. The fact that he systematically deceived you and used marital funds to support his affairs also matters. I'm going to push for 70% of marital assets, full payment of your legal fees, and temporary spousal support." Amanda's head was spinning. 70%? Is that realistic? With this evidence? Absolutely, Jennifer said. Judges don't look kindly on documented patterns of infidelity and financial deception. Plus, you gave up career advancement to support him. That's a tangible sacrifice, with financial implications. We're going to make sure you're compensated fairly. She paused. "How are you holding up?" "I don't know," Amanda said honestly. "I feel numb, like this is happening to someone else, and I'm just watching." "That's shock," Jennifer said gently. "It'll pass, and when it does, you're going to feel a lot of things. Anger, grief, maybe even regret or doubt. That's all normal. But right now, we need to focus on protecting you legally and financially. Does Ryan know you're planning to file?" "I told him I wanted him out of the house. I think he knows it's over. Good. When you get home, I want you to document everything. Take photos of the house, all your belongings, anything valuable. Make copies of all financial documents you can access. Bank statements, investment accounts, retirement funds, tax returns, everything. We need a complete picture of your marital assets. Amanda nodded, trying to absorb all the information. Jennifer, there's something else. I told Ryan that I'm not keeping his secret anymore, that I'm going to tell people the truth. Jennifer's eyes sharpened. What exactly did you say? I said that he humiliated me with that joke at the party. So now everyone is going to know what kind of man he is. Jennifer was quiet for a moment, choosing her words carefully. Amanda, I understand you're angry. You have every right to be. But we need to be strategic about this. Don't post anything on social media. Don't send group texts. Don't blast him publicly. That can actually hurt you in divorce proceedings. Judges don't like it when either party tries to publicly humiliate the other. So I'm just supposed to stay quiet? Let people think everything is fine? No, Jennifer said. But we tell people strategically. Close friends, family, people who deserve to know. We tell them the truth. We show them the evidence if necessary. But we do it privately and carefully, not in a way that can be construed as harassment or defamation. We take the high road. We be honest, but we be smart about it. Amanda felt frustration rising in her chest. He gets to lie for 2 years, but I have to be careful about telling the truth? I know it's not fair, Jennifer said, but fair and legal aren't always the same thing. Trust me on this. I've seen too many divorces get messy because someone acted out of anger and it backfired. We're going to handle this the right way. You're going to come out of this with your dignity, your financial security, and the moral high ground. Ryan is going to come out of this with everyone knowing exactly who he is, but it's going to happen through the proper channels. Amanda took a shaky breath. Jennifer was right. She knew Jennifer was right. Okay, she said. We do it your way. Good, Jennifer said. Now, let's talk about immediate next steps. When you get home, has Ryan already left? I don't know. I told him to be out by tonight. Okay. If he's still there when you get back, stay calm. Don't engage in arguments. Don't let him provoke you. If he wants to talk, tell him all communication needs to go through attorneys from now on. If he refuses to leave, call the police and have him removed. It's your house too. You have every right to be there. Amanda's phone buzzed. A text from Ryan. Amanda, please come home so we can talk. I'm not leaving until we talk face to face. I need you to understand. She showed the message to Jennifer. Don't respond, Jennifer said immediately. Let him wait. Let him worry. You control this situation now, not him. Amanda set her phone face down on the table. What about the party? The people who were there when he made that joke? Can I tell them? You can tell them the truth if they ask. And if you want to proactively tell the hosts, Mark and Diane, that's fine. They were the ones who threw the party where this all started. They deserve to know, but keep it factual. Just the facts. He cheated. You have proof. You're getting divorced. Don't editorialize. Don't call him names. Just state what happened. I want to call them today, Amanda said. I want them to know before Ryan has a chance to spin some story. Jennifer nodded. Then do it. But remember what I said. Facts only. Stay calm. Stay dignified. They finished their coffee, and Jennifer walked Amanda to her car. You're going to get through this, Jennifer said, hugging her tightly. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but you are. And when you come out the other side, you're going to be stronger than you ever thought possible. Amanda drove home slowly, dreading what she might find. Ryan's car was in the driveway. He was still there. She took a deep breath, gathered her courage, and walked inside. Ryan was sitting on the couch in the living room, his head in his hands. He looked up when she entered. His eyes were red. He had been crying. Amanda, thank God, he said, standing up. We need to talk. No, we don't, Amanda said, setting her purse on the entry table. I told you to leave. I'm not leaving until you listen to me, Ryan said. "Please, just 5 minutes. I don't want to hear anything you have to say." "Amanda, I made a terrible mistake. Multiple mistakes. I know that. But our marriage, what we have, that's real. That matters. We can get through this. We can go to counseling. We can rebuild trust." Amanda turned to face him fully. "Ryan, you didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. Multiple choices. Every single day for 2 years, you chose to lie to me. You chose to betray me. You chose to sleep with other women. Those weren't mistakes. Those were deliberate decisions." "I know," Ryan said, his voice breaking. "And I hate myself for it. I hate what I've done to you, to us. But I love you. I have always loved you. That was never a lie." "How am I supposed to believe anything you say?" Amanda asked. "You're a liar, Ryan. You're so good at it that I never suspected a thing. So when you stand there and tell me you love me, how do I know that's not just another lie?" Ryan stepped closer. "Because I'm showing you who I really am right now. The scared, weak, selfish man who hurt the person he loves most in the world. I'm not hiding anymore. This is me, flawed and broken and sorry. So incredibly sorry." Amanda felt tears threatening again. She refused to let them fall. "You know what the saddest part is? If you had come to me a year ago, 2 years ago, and told me you were unhappy, that something was wrong, that you were struggling, we could have worked on it. We could have gone to therapy. We could have talked. But you didn't give me that chance. You just went behind my back and did whatever you wanted." "You're right," Ryan said quietly. "I was a coward. I didn't know how to face what I was feeling, so I ran from it. And in the process, I destroyed everything that mattered." "Yes," Amanda said. "You did. Now get out of my house." Ryan's face crumpled. "Amanda, please, don't give up on us. Don't give up on 8 years. You gave up on us the moment you kissed someone else," Amanda said. Her voice was steady now, cold. "You gave up on us every time you withdrew $500 to pay for your mistress's apartment. You gave up on us every Saturday morning when you bought coffee for another woman." "I'm not giving up on anything. There's nothing left to give up on. You already destroyed it." Ryan stood there for a long moment, looking at her like he was seeing her for the first time. Then he nodded slowly. "Okay," he said. "I'll pack a bag. But Amanda, this isn't over. I'm going to fight for you. For us." "There is no us anymore," Amanda said. She walked past him into the kitchen and poured herself a glass of water. She heard him go upstairs, heard drawers opening and closing, heard the zipper of a suitcase. 15 minutes later, he came back downstairs with a duffel bag over his shoulder. He stopped in the kitchen doorway. "I'm staying at the Marriott downtown," he said. "Room 327. If you change your mind, if you want to talk, I'll be there." Amanda didn't respond. She kept her back to him, staring out the kitchen window at the backyard where they had hosted barbecues and birthday parties and talked about maybe building a deck someday. After a moment, she heard the front door open and close. She heard his car start. She heard him drive away. Only then did she let herself cry. She sank down onto the kitchen floor, her back against the cabinets, and sobbed. Great heaving sobs that shook her entire body. She cried for the marriage she thought she had. She cried for the future that would never happen. She cried for the woman she had been a week ago, naive and trusting and happy. That woman was gone. In her place was someone harder, someone who knew that love wasn't always enough, that promises could be broken, that the person sleeping beside you could be a stranger. She cried until she had no tears left. Then she stood up, washed her face, and pulled out her phone. She scrolled to Mark and Diane's number. Mark answered. "Amanda, hey, we were just talking about you. How are you?" "Mark, I need to talk to you and Diane about something," Amanda said. "Can I come over?" There was a pause. "Of course. Is everything okay?" "No," Amanda said, "but it will be. I'll be there in 20 minutes." She drove to Mark and Diane's house. the same house where the party had been held a week ago. A week. It felt like a lifetime. Diane answered the door, took one look at Amanda's face, and pulled her inside. What happened? They sat in the living room, the same room where Ryan had made his joke. Amanda told them everything. She showed them the photos from Frank Harrison. She told them about confronting Ryan and Nicole. She told them about the divorce she was filing. Mark and Diane listened in stunned silence. I can't believe it, Diane said finally. Ryan? I never would have thought he was capable of something like this. Neither did I, Amanda said. But the evidence doesn't lie. Mark's jaw was tight with anger. That joke he made at our party. I thought it was in poor taste, but I never imagined he was actually doing it. God, Amanda, I'm so sorry. If I had known, there was no way you could have known, Amanda said. He was very careful, very good at hiding it. What do you need from us? Diane asked. Anything. Seriously, whatever you need. Just the truth, Amanda said. When people ask, and they will ask, I need you to tell them what really happened. Ryan is going to try to control the narrative. He's going to try to make himself look better, make me look crazy or vindictive. I need people to know the truth. We'll tell them, Mark said firmly. Everyone who was at that party is going to know exactly what kind of man he is. Amanda felt a weight lift slightly off her chest. She wasn't alone in this. She had people on her side. Thank you, she said. She stayed for another hour, talking through the details, accepting their support and sympathy. When she finally left, the sun was setting. She drove home in the orange light of dusk, feeling exhausted, but somehow lighter. She had done what she needed to do. She had told the truth. She had started the process of reclaiming her life. At home, the house felt different without Ryan in it. Quieter, emptier, but also, in a strange way, more peaceful. Amanda walked through the rooms, looking at everything with new eyes. This was her space now, her home. She didn't have to share it with a liar anymore. She went upstairs to their bedroom, to the closet where Ryan's clothes still hung. She started pulling them off hangers and throwing them into garbage bags. His suits, his shirts, his ties, everything. She worked methodically, not thinking, just moving. By the time she finished, she had 5 large bags filled with his belongings. She dragged them downstairs and left them by the front door. Tomorrow, she would text him to come pick them up. Tonight, she just wanted them out of her sight. She changed into comfortable clothes, ordered Chinese food delivery, and sat on the couch with her laptop. She opened her email and started drafting a message to her family. Her parents, her sister. They deserved to know. They would want to support her. As she typed, her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Mrs. Foster? This is Nicole Parker. Amanda froze. Nicole? I know I said I never wanted to hear from either of you again, Nicole said. Her voice sounded raw, like she had been crying. But I need you to know something. I really didn't know he was married. I swear to you. He told me he was divorced. He showed me what looked like legal documents. He talked about his ex-wife, how she had hurt him, how happy he was to have moved on. I believed all of it. I know, Amanda said quietly. I could tell when I met you. You were as shocked as I would have been. I feel so stupid, Nicole said. There were signs, things that didn't add up, but I ignored them because I wanted to believe him. I wanted what we had to be real. I understand, Amanda said. And she did. She had done the same thing, in a way. Ignored the small inconsistencies, the gut feelings, because it was easier than facing the truth. I'm sorry, Nicole said. I know I'm not the one who should be apologizing. He's the one who lied to both of us. But I'm sorry anyway, for my part in this, for being involved with your husband, even if I didn't know. Thank you, Amanda said. That means something. They were both quiet for a moment. Then Nicole said, What are you going to do? About him? I'm filing for divorce, Amanda said. Monday morning. My attorney says we have a strong case. Good, Nicole said fiercely. Take him for everything he's worth. He deserves it. After they hung up, Amanda sat with her phone in her hand, thinking about the strange turn her life had taken. A week ago, she thought she had a good marriage. Now she was on the phone with her husband's mistress, both of them victims of the same man's lies. It would have been funny if it wasn't so heartbreaking. The doorbell rang. Her food had arrived. She paid the delivery driver, brought the bag inside, and ate lo mein straight from the container while sitting on her couch. It was the first meal she had eaten alone in her house in 8 years. She thought it would feel lonely, but instead, it felt like freedom. Monday morning arrived cold and gray. Amanda woke up at 6, showered, and dressed in a navy blazer and tailored pants. She wanted to look strong today, professional, in control. She met Jennifer at her law office at 8:30. Jennifer had already prepared the divorce paperwork. Amanda signed her name on document after document, each signature feeling like closing a door on her old life and opening a window to something new. "I'm filing these today," Jennifer said. "Ryan will be served within 48 hours. Once that happens, he'll have 30 days to respond. Based on the evidence we have, I expect his attorney will want to settle rather than go to trial. No one wants these photos shown in open court." "How long will the whole process take?" Amanda asked. "If he cooperates and we can reach a settlement agreement, maybe 4 to 6 months. If he fights it, could be a year or more. But honestly, I don't think he'll fight. He knows he has no ground to stand on." Amanda nodded. She felt numb again, like she had felt on Saturday. But underneath the numbness was something else, something that felt almost like relief. "What do I do now?" "Now?" Jennifer smiled. "Now you live your life. You go to work. You see your friends. You do whatever makes you happy. Don't put your life on hold waiting for this to be over. The best revenge is living well." Amanda left the law office and drove to work. She had taken the day off on Friday, claiming she was sick. Today, she needed the distraction of normalcy. But when she arrived, she could tell immediately that word had spread. People looked at her differently, some with pity, some with curiosity, some with awkward sympathy. By lunch, 3 different co-workers had stopped by her desk to ask if she was okay. She gave them all the same answer. "I'm fine. My husband and I are getting divorced. It's for the best." She kept her voice steady, her expression calm. She refused to be the object of gossip or pity. She was handling this with dignity. By Wednesday, Ryan had been served. He called her 17 times that day. She didn't answer. He sent text after text, each one more desperate than the last. "Please talk to me. We can work this out. Don't throw away 8 years. I love you." She deleted each message without responding. Jennifer had been clear. All communication goes through attorneys now. On Thursday evening, Amanda's sister Rachel drove in from 2 hours away. Rachel was 3 years younger, a high school English teacher with 2 kids and a husband who actually deserved her. She arrived with wine and takeout and a fierce expression. "Where is he? I want to punch him in his lying face." Amanda laughed for the first time in days. "He's at a hotel, and you're not punching anyone." "Fine," Rachel said, "but I'm thinking very violent thoughts in his direction." They sat on the couch eating pasta and drinking wine. Rachel listened as Amanda told her everything she hadn't been able to say over the phone. The fear, the anger, the grief, the strange sense of liberation mixed with devastating loss. "I keep going back and forth," Amanda admitted. "One minute I'm furious. The next minute I'm crying. Then I feel fine. Then I feel like my entire world has ended." "That's normal," Rachel said. "You're grieving, not just the marriage, but the person you thought he was. That's a real loss, Amanda. It's okay to mourn it." "I feel stupid," Amanda said quietly, "for not seeing it sooner, for being so trusting." "Don't," Rachel said firmly. "Don't blame yourself for his choices. You trusted your husband. That's not stupid. That's what you're supposed to do in a marriage. He's the one who betrayed that trust. He's the one who lied. This is 100% on him." 2 weeks later, Ryan's attorney contacted Jennifer with a settlement proposal. He was willing to agree to 65% of marital assets going to Amanda, full payment of her legal fees, and $2,000 per month in temporary spousal support for 3 years. He wants to avoid trial, Jennifer explained. He knows if we go to court with those photos, it'll be worse for him. Is it a good offer? Amanda asked. It's decent, Jennifer said, but I think we can do better. Let me counter-offer. 70%, full legal fees, and $2,500 per month. By the end of October, 3 months after that party where Ryan had made his fatal joke, they reached an agreement. 70% of marital assets, full payment of Amanda's legal fees, which totaled just over $15,000, spousal support of $2,500 per month for 3 years. The house would be sold and the proceeds split according to the settlement terms, but Amanda would have first right to buy Ryan out if she chose. Amanda chose to stay. This was her home. She refinanced the mortgage in her name only, using her share of their savings as a down payment. Ryan signed the papers without argument. He had moved in with a friend and was keeping a low profile. Word had spread through their social circle about what he had done. Mutual friends had taken sides, and most had taken Amanda's. Ryan had become a pariah. In early November, Amanda ran into him at a grocery store. She was in the produce section, examining avocados, when she looked up and saw him 2 aisles away. He looked terrible. He had lost weight. His face was gaunt. There were deep circles under his eyes. He was wearing sweatpants and an old t-shirt, a far cry from his usual meticulous appearance. When he saw her, he froze. For a moment, they just stared at each other across the vegetables and fruits. Amanda could see him working up the courage to approach her. She could see the hope and desperation in his eyes. He took a step toward her. Amanda calmly raised her hand, palm out, in a clear gesture. Stop. Don't. She held his gaze for 3 seconds, then turned and walked away without a word. She didn't look back. She didn't need to. That chapter of her life was closed. The divorce was finalized on a cold Monday in early December, exactly 6 months after the initial filing. Amanda signed the final papers in Jennifer's office. When it was done, Jennifer hugged her tight. "How do you feel?" "Free," Amanda said. And she meant it. That Friday evening, Amanda met her new friends at a wine bar downtown. She had joined a book club 2 months earlier, wanting to rebuild her social life outside of the couples-focused circle she had shared with Ryan. The women in the group were smart and funny and supportive. They knew about her divorce, but didn't define her by it. Tonight, they were celebrating one member's promotion at work. As they sat around a high-top table, glasses of wine in hand, the conversation turned to bad relationships. One woman shared a story about an ex who had gaslit her for years. Another talked about a boyfriend who had stolen money from her. When they turned to Amanda, asking if she had any stories to share, she smiled and took a sip of her Cabernet. "I do," she said, "but that story doesn't have power over me anymore." Next subject? The women laughed and moved on to lighter topics. But later, as Amanda drove home through the December darkness, she thought about what she had said. It was true. The story of Ryan's betrayal, which had consumed her for months, which had broken her heart and shattered her trust, no longer controlled her. She had faced it. She had dealt with it. She had survived it. And now she was moving forward. She pulled into her driveway and sat in the car for a moment, looking at her house. It looked different now than it had 6 months ago. She had repainted the living room a warm sage green. She had replaced the couch where Ryan used to sit. She had hung new artwork, rearranged furniture, made the space entirely hers. It felt lighter somehow, happier. Inside, she made herself tea and curled up on her new couch with a book. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. "Dinner next week? My treat. We're celebrating you." Amanda smiled and typed back. "Absolutely. Thank you for everything." Jennifer responded immediately. "That's what friends are for. Proud of you." Amanda set her phone aside and opened her book. As she read, Her mind wandered to the future. For so long, she had imagined her future with Ryan. A bigger house, children, growing old together. All of those dreams were gone now. But in their place, new possibilities were emerging. She could go anywhere, do anything, become anyone she wanted to be. The thought was both terrifying and exhilarating. She thought about the woman she had been at that party 6 months ago, standing in the doorway, champagne glass in hand, forcing a smile when her husband joked about cheating. That woman had been afraid to see the truth, afraid to disrupt her comfortable life, afraid to be alone. But that woman was gone. In her place was someone stronger, someone who had faced betrayal and devastation and had come out the other side intact. Not unscathed, but intact, wounded, but healing, changed, but not broken. Amanda closed her book and walked to the window. Outside, light snow was beginning to fall, dusting the street and the bare trees with white. She thought about Ryan at that grocery store, looking broken and lost. Part of her felt pity for him. He had destroyed his own life through his choices. He had lost a wife who loved him, friends who respected him, a reputation he had spent years building, all because he was too afraid, or too selfish, or too weak to be honest. But mostly, she felt grateful. Grateful that she had found out. Grateful that she had hired Frank Harrison. Grateful that she had the courage to confront the truth, rather than hide from it. If Ryan hadn't made that joke at the party, she might never have known. She might have spent years, maybe decades, living a lie. Instead, at 36 years old, she had a chance to start over, to build a life based on honesty and authenticity, to find happiness on her own terms. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was a message from Mark, the friend who had hosted the party. "Hey, Amanda. Diane and I are having a small New Year's Eve gathering. Nothing big, just close friends. We'd love to have you if you're free. No pressure either way." Amanda smiled. 6 months ago, she would have dreaded going to a party alone, walking into a room full of couples without her husband. Now, the thought didn't bother her at all. She typed back, "I'd love to come. Thank you for including me." On New Year's Eve, Amanda dressed carefully in a deep red dress that made her hazel eyes stand out. She styled her hair in loose waves and applied makeup with a steady hand. When she looked in the mirror, she saw a woman who had been through hell and survived. She saw strength in the set of her jaw, resilience in her eyes. She saw someone she was proud to be. At Mark and Diane's house, the party was intimate and warm. 15 people, good food, better wine, and genuine laughter. No one mentioned Ryan. No one asked painful questions. They simply welcomed her as herself, not as half of a couple. As midnight approached, everyone gathered in the living room with champagne glasses. The television showed the countdown in Times Square. 10, 9, 8. Amanda stood there, glass in hand, surrounded by friends old and new. 7, 6, 5. She thought about the year that was ending, the pain and betrayal, the tears and anger. 4, 3, 2. But also the strength she had discovered, the truth she had faced, the freedom she had claimed. 1. Happy New Year. Everyone cheered and hugged. Diane pulled Amanda into a tight embrace. "This is going to be your year," she whispered in Amanda's ear. "I can feel it." Amanda pulled back and smiled. "You know what? I think you're right." She drove home just after midnight, the streets quiet and empty, snow falling gently through her headlights. In her driveway, she sat for a moment before going inside. She thought about Ryan's joke that had started everything. If I ever cheated, she would never find out. Never. He had been so confident, so arrogant, so certain of his own cleverness. But he had underestimated her. He had thought she was too trusting, too naive, too weak to question him. And that had been his greatest mistake. Not the cheating itself, but the arrogance that came with it. The belief that he was smarter than her, that he could fool her forever, that she would never have the courage or the strength to seek the truth. Amanda got out of her car and walked to her front door. She unlocked it and stepped inside her warm, quiet house. Her space, her life. She kicked off her heels, hung up her coat, and walked into the kitchen. On the refrigerator was a calendar. She flipped it forward to the new year, to all those blank days waiting to be filled. She thought about what Jennifer had said months ago. The best revenge is living well. And that was exactly what Amanda intended to do. Not out of spite or anger, but because she deserved it. She deserved happiness. She deserved honesty. She deserved a life built on truth rather than lies. Ryan had said he would never find out if he cheated. He had been wrong about that. But more importantly, Amanda had discovered something he never expected. She had found out who she really was. Not Ryan's wife. Not the naive woman who trusted too easily, but Amanda Foster. Strong, resilient, capable of facing hard truths and surviving them. Capable of building a new life from the ashes of the old one. She poured herself a glass of water and stood at the kitchen window, looking out at the snow-covered backyard. Somewhere out there, Ryan was probably spending New Year's alone, mourning everything he had lost. Nicole Parker was probably doing the same, recovering from the betrayal and moving on with her life. And Amanda? Amanda was exactly where she needed to be. Home, whole, free. She raised her glass to her reflection in the dark window. To new beginnings, she said softly, and to never settling for less than I deserve. She drank, set the glass down, and smiled. The past was behind her. The future stretched ahead, full of possibility. And for the first time in 6 months, Amanda felt something she hadn't felt since that night at the party. She felt hope. Pure, genuine, uncomplicated hope. And that, she realized, was the greatest gift she could have given herself. Not revenge, not vindication, not even justice, though she had gotten that too. The greatest gift was simply this: the courage to face the truth, no matter how painful, and the strength to build something better on the other side of it. Amanda turned off the kitchen light and headed upstairs to bed. Tomorrow was a new day, a new year, a new chapter, and she couldn't wait to see what came next. If you enjoyed the story, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And drop a comment below. What city are you watching from? And if your heart tells you to, feel free to leave me a tip on Buy Me a Coffee. Just check the first pinned comment. Thanks for keeping me company and for the coffee, and I'll see you in the next story.